Hey everybody, welcome to my Suburban Oasis. So today I'm going to take you on another early June garden tour. There's a lot of new things that are blooming and going on in the yard, so I thought you'd enjoy that. If you're enjoying my channel so far, give me a thumbs up and like my channel, subscribe, and even hit the notification bell to get notified next time a new video comes out. Alright, let's take a look. So we're going to start over here in the fountain gardens today, and as you can see, my geraniums are blooming gorgeously. My two salvia I have here, which is the crystal blue and the azure snow here, are just on fire. I mean, they look absolutely gorgeous, don't they? Those are both from the Color Spire series, proven winners, and I think I'm definitely going to divide this one when it gets bigger. Loving that. And then as we look over here at this fountain, we have the gorgeous Woodland still flowering. It's starting to go out of flower now, but it will sporadically flower throughout the rest of the season. And then the gorgeous Allium giganteum. Look how big they are now. They're like as big as my hand, you guys. They just keep getting bigger. And my dusky violet penstemon down here are starting to bloom. And my roses are putting on their buds, but nothing's coming up yet. As you can see, my clematis is starting to have a bloom there, and several buds are starting to open. And then I have a gorgeous Bordeaux Supertunia there, which is starting to fill in, and there is another one over here on this side. Those are some of my favorite Petunias. I just love the color and the deep veining on them. Alright, well, let's take a look at the long border over here. First, I just want to show you in the corner over there that clematis is still going strong. Isn't that pretty? That is called Crystal Fountain. I think I thought it was called Crystal Falls, but I double checked, and that is a Crystal Fountain one. The dianthus everywhere in my yard right now is really getting full of blooms. And then we have these pink diamond bleeding hearts, and these are different than the other ones because they have blue foliage and they like the sun. And here's what my sun hanging basket is looking like now. The geranium's starting to bloom and things are starting to fill out. And my quick fire hydrangea here, the buds are definitely getting a lot bigger. And this salvia, this is just one of my favorite ones, and it is the rose marble. And the flowers on this, again, they're just so incredible. I'm really happy with the way that my Japanese maple here is filling out after it got such severe damage. It definitely is going to be okay. That makes me happy. These Mediterranean bell, which someone informed me is their common name, they're still going, and someone also told me they're called Allium nectarosum. I think that's how if I pronounce it correctly. So thank you to all the viewers who commented and helped me out with that. The coral dianthus is looking great still. And look at all the buds at the top of this trellis on my clematis. I don't know how well you can see them against the green, but there are just about 15 of them up top there. I am absolutely loving these fruit punch dianthus right here. The color is just awesome. And then look at my little devil ninebark. Those blooms are just starting to open up, and they're a nice little pink against that maroon foliage. Love it. And here's the other hanging basket. This one's a little bit further along in terms of its blooms, but I think it's going to look really lovely. That bright pink against the chartreuse. These Violet Riot Color Spire Salvias look really nice. The Barberries I just trimmed so that they are a little bit neater. I do like to have that kind of structure and clean lines in the garden to help set apart some of the more free-flowing parts of the garden. All the color of the different heucheras here are looking lovely with their blooms starting to come up. See those? They're all different colors, so they're nice to mix and match. And down here you can just see how the chives have really filled out this garden for this time of year, and they look stunning against all of the other different types of plants that I have here, including the blue sedum, which is the autumn joy, and against the magenta of those dianthus, and also against the blue purple of the geranium. And if you're wondering about when to cut the chives back, I am just about ready to cut them back. You can sort of see the tips of them starting to turn a darker, almost a redder pink rather than purple. And that's when you know they're starting to dry out and go to seed. So I like to cut them back right around that time to ensure that they don't seed themselves all around the garden, unless I was looking for some nice new ones. All right, well, let's look down this way at the Woodland Garden. It is just great. We got some rain finally, probably about 1/4 of an inch, which has just been really great. And you can see that has really made these geraniums come out and become much larger and flowering. I also did a little trimming on this barberry right here, so it will, as it grows out, start to put on some more of the deep purple maroon burgundy color. I think this area is looking so pretty right now with the pansies that I planted out here and that gorgeous Norway spruce that's weeping in the back, and the hostas that I've filled in around it. So I'm really enjoying that. Someone asked me a little bit about how my boxwoods were doing. This one's doing fairly well. You can see it's got a lot of new growth happening in there, a lot of live leaves behind some of the browning. So I do need to trim off a little bit more from the outside of this one. But the one on the other side that I planted definitely got hit again, much more significantly, and has very little green growth on it. So we'll see. I'm going to give it a little bit longer and see. It might take a really long time to come back, so I may have to pull it out of the garden. But it is in a sheltered place, and I'm going to keep it well watered and fertilized, and maybe it will reward me with some nice growth. I put some of my fruit punch dianthus over here as well. So I think those look lovely next to that new tower boxwood that I got. And these striptease hostas are really full now. And this blue angel hosta at the end is gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. I love the lines on that. It's like a very elegant one. And this here is just such a lovely scene in terms of the elderberry and the gorgeous Japanese maple next to the bird bath that I have that's surrounded by the striptease hostas and the mermaid bowl. And this is the bed that you just saw me mulch if you watched my last video. And this sun guy, this was one of the guys that I got from that concrete vendor at the art show that we usually go to every year. I've been hoping starts again next year. Fingers crossed. Over here we have the shade basket, which got hit by some cold weather, so it got a little bit crispy on the edges, but it's doing okay. And the other one's over here as well, so that they're hanging on either side of this cast iron. It's actually a bird feeder, but I don't feed the birds with it. I just put it out for decoration. You can see the lungworts are starting to put out, the pulmonaria lungworts are starting to put out their new leaves rapidly. And this Diablo 9-bark has got a little bit of some flowers coming on it. And my hydrangea here is getting lots of buds on it. You can see this garden bed is starting to fill out. It will probably be much more full by the end of the month as those lungworts come back in, and these salvia here, the blue dimension salvia, flush out. I planted those 3 salvias last year, so they should really get to a nice full size in about a month. And my phlox are starting to bloom here, but they're not open too far. This is First Blush, I believe is what this one's called. But I have to say that the plantings on either side of the shed are just looking so nice. Isn't that pretty? I just like the colors. And then if you look down this way and try to ignore the pool pump heater, look at that. All the colors and the way that they meld together. The peonies are coming out. These are the Bowl of Beauty peonies. And that catmint, the Nepeta Walker's Low, is just glowing by that chartreuse dianthus. I don't see any buds on this clematis yet. This is a pink mink. I'm waiting to see when we'll get those. My potager garden is in incredible shape right now. It is also just blooming. I've got some foxglove that are starting to come out as well. I always just love the beauty of each one of those little blooms. Now the 9-bark, that is the Autumn Jubilee, is blooming, just starting to bloom. And the other ones are now going out of bloom. You can see my purple smoke bush that I'm kind of trying to train into a tree form is looking glorious. And my kale, I mean, that's like monster kale, you guys. It's like 2 feet tall. It's crazy. Here we are in the side bed, and I'm excited to tell you that this Haconocloic grass is pushing through magnificently at this point, and my elderberry is flowering, and I love it. I'm so glad I got this. Highly recommend the black lace elderberry, guys. And this one's in a part shade, I will show you the one that's out in the front in just a couple minutes. That is in full sun, and it looks a little bit different. And the geranium in this bed, I have one on both sides, and they are both starting to bloom. And I just think it looks quite magnificent right now. My garden makes me really happy when it's blooming like this and it fills out like that. And again, all of my geranium macrorhizum are definitely blooming right now. And so those look really nice because they bloom when not a lot of other things will bloom in a dry shade area. And this Hosta bed with the Japanese maple is also looking really lovely right now. Just look how big the hostas got after this last rain. I mean, I think they jumped up several inches. And I have cut back the bleeding heart in this bed as well to give more room for the hostas to fill out and the ferns to fill out. The hellebores, they will not get any bigger at this point. They're pretty much at their max. The chives are still blooming up front here. And the pink sparkler back there, that is a birch leaf spirea pink sparkler, and that one is really doing well as well. I like that one. Again, a nice little blooming touch in a part shade area. It gets a little easterly sun in the morning. Wish I could remember the name of these hostas. There's just so many different varieties, but I really like them. We have the liatris right here that is spiking up now. It's probably going to put out flowers in a few weeks. And this plum pudding hooker, oh my gosh, the leaves on these are so big, you guys. With the wee hosta behind it. And I think this planter is also looking really pretty right now. This is a tuberous begonia, and I think it's starting to get a bloom. That's exciting. Will be the first one. But look at this container. Isn't that pretty? It's got a boxwood and a hosta with some pansies, and I just love the colors of it. And my front porch is also looking very cheery still. With all the pansies and impatiens and the Japanese ferns. Okay, in the front sun garden bed here, we have more dianthus around the bottoms, and I just am loving the way the Allium giganteum are coming through these boxwoods. It was just an idea I had last year, and I was wondering how it would turn out. I was kind of wondering if they would even come up above the boxwoods, but they did, and it's pretty glorious. This whole front bed right now, I mean, everything. I guess June is my favorite month, so we're coming right into my favorite time because I feel like everything in the garden is still fresh and beautiful, and everything's green still. The grass is still green, and so it makes the garden look even more lush. The Veronica here has come up. Isn't that pretty blue? The teeny tiny flowers. I've got some over here as well. And hopefully I can pronounce this allium correct now. I believe it's Carativiense. Alright, well, I did my best, guys. I have a bunch of Liatris spicata up here, which is also known as gay feather. That is a bright pink one. We have cone flowers on either side of this oak leaf hydrangea. And this is the whirlwind lantana. I think that's what that is, lantana. Lots of different kinds of salvia and different colors of salvia in this bed. So we have like a dark pink and a light pink and almost a blue purple, and then the really dark purple. And I'm again letting my purple sensation alliums just go to seed here. So they're creating their seed heads, which are really interesting to look at. They look pretty much like a firework on the 4th of July. And I will do my best to collect some of those seeds because I want to make that half circle around the bed a little bit more distinct. I'll just walk around this tree to the front of the bed. And for those of you who are wondering, this is a weeping cherry. It's been in my yard for about probably 10 years, maybe a little bit longer. It was very small when I first planted it. And now it's to the point where it has an understory in plants that grow in its shade. And I love these geraniums. I cannot remember the name of those, and I cannot find a tag for them, so I'm going to have to try to do some more research to figure out what they were again. And this is another geranium. I think it's called Dreamsicle or Dreamland. You can see the blossoms on the Deutzia there. And the hot pink mini Vista petunias are in there that I planted. Just kind of filling in some of the gaps. Again, I really like to have my beds nice and full. So I'll scoot back a little bit so you can see it from far away. This is some blue Veronica over here. So in full effect right now. And let's go look over here at the mailbox. I know some of you really liked these garnet or really deep red blooms that were on this clematis, so I'll show you those. Definitely is quite stunning. And still lots of blooms yet. Lots of blooms yet to come. And something else that's exciting is my viburnums, my blue muffin viburnums, and the black lace elderberry in this bed are blooming. So I'm really happy with that. Next year, the show will definitely be even better on those. But here's what the flowers look like on that. They're almost like what we would call a Queen Anne's lace. And then, as you can see, this has much deeper and darker foliage here in the sun. It almost has a blue tint to it. And then here's some buds on this flower. And then this one is open. So it's a very light pink and just gorgeous. And there's lots of buds left. So I'm excited to see what that looks like in full bloom. And I have cut quite a few peonies that were getting ready to open, but there's still a ton. I have no idea why they're so happy this year. I just don't know, but there's a lot, and they're about ready to bloom. And they will smell amazing when they do. I have more of the different kinds of salvias that I've got. I think these are the Merlot rose ones back here. And then this bed also, I think, needs a little bit of a backup so you can see it from how it looks a little bit more from far away. Just so you can get an idea of the design of it. The Baptisia, the two false indigos that I have, along with all of the purple salvia. And so it's a really nice sun garden here. And then I want to show you the Tiny Wine 9 bark as well, because those are also blooming right now. And there they are, tucked in there, cute as can be. And there's another Merlot rose salvia right there. And the calyx on those is like a deep pink as well, so it's really, really pretty, even when it's not blooming. And then we'll look over here at the row of boxwoods. This is looking much better. I did have some cold damage on these, and I put in some pink pom-pom dianthus in front here just for a little bit of color as these boxwoods are growing out. And behind them I have planted a row of liatris. So that is what is on the inside row here, which forms a really nice sort of short hedge during the summer, and this is the pink Liatris spicata. And then my royal ferns here. If you're ever looking for a really beautiful fern that doesn't spread too much, or at least it hasn't in my opinion, this royal fern is gorgeous. It does like water as well. And then I have this PG hydrangea standard, and it's getting some buds on it. And things are just looking really good, everybody. I hope that you have enjoyed this tour, and I hope that your gardens are doing as well as you would like them to be. And if not, remember, there's always tomorrow. Okay, well, thanks everybody for joining me today. I hope that you enjoyed this tour. I'm sure enjoying my garden right now, so I hope you are too and are able to get outside and enjoy it in some nice weather. I know our weather has been very odd this year, but definitely plants are very resilient. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed this tour, and I will see you next time. Bye!